ilaha illallah.
Just imagine a woman who was a direct victim of the northern terrorism, who has now sought asylum. Perhaps she was one of the last people that they accepted in that country that she is today. Can you feel the pain and horror she went through? And to this very moment that I speak, so many women are still being dehumanized by these northern Fulani'S. In fact, today, these elders have extended beyond north. They are now going into the southwestern states, the Midwest, Edo, Delta. They don't just go into farmlands anymore to graze. Now, they are now coveting on our women, sleeping, forcefully sleeping with them, leaving them with a stigma that will last a lifetime. You know, when a woman goes through that horrific experience of rape, not a husband, not a boyfriend, not someone who is in his right senses, but a terrorist, in some instances, these people will be impregnated and then they give birth to a child of a terrorist. From her testimony there, should I say testimony or should I just, it is an horror story from her. She said that the Western countries and even the Sena climes today are not accepting refugees anymore. That they are not giving them the room to seek for asylum any longer because they've had enough. When they look at their register, all the women seeking for asylum are all saying that they are running out of Nigeria because of the terrorism going on in the north. In their thousands, hundreds of thousands. Is it in Canada? Is it in Italy? Is it in Egypt? Our women are now being treated as a third-class human being. They've lost all their dignity because of some elements who see themselves as martyrs for Allah. Because of some element who believe they are fighting for their faith. Because of some element, when they are arrested, they will tell you they are doing this for God. But we know them. We know that they are just land grabbers, usurpers. You know, we know that the governments in the north are complicit. We know that these political juggernauts in the north are culpable for this successful kidnap terrorism going on in the north. We know that the last president, Buhari, to some extent, was complicit because some names were unveiled to Buhari. That these are the northerners who are in UAE, Dubai, who are financing terrorism in the north, specifically, gave out their names, gave out all the details that Buhari needs to apprehend these guys. Till this very day, as I speak, not one of them was apprehended. When we as Nigerians, when anything happens in the north, it automatically rubs off on us in the south or in the middle belt, in the southeast, whatever insecurity that happens. And we know that in the last 1.5 decade, Nigeria has experienced an incessant and aggressive attack from terrorism that are either financed by ISWAP, by CIA, by ISIS, all in a bid to give this country a bad name. Today, we can no longer access some countries that ordinarily we used to. In fact, so many countries that we had good, you know, alliance with have banned the passports of the Nigeria because they feel that you are coming to become a nuisance. When you get into a country in the last 4 to 5 years, ever since COVID, if you check the record, as I have on my screen, you check the record, you see the amount of people seeking for asylum is in Canada, is in UK, is in America. I mean, just some weeks ago, Canada had to reject. They said since 2013 till 2024 that nothing less than 25,000 Nigerians were rejected seeking for asylum. And these were the periods that this terrorism started. To this very day, it is still enduring, still persisting. The foreign countries are stating that they have had enough, that they will no longer be a safe haven if the Nigerian government will not take up their responsibilities to secure their people. That whatever that is going on in Nigeria is as a result of the government being complicit. That the government of the day, to a large extent, are not willing to fight this. And I agree. I sincerely agree. Let me tell you how I agree. Do you see what happened in Edo State recently? Can you see how the northern governors are engaging? First and foremost, within 24 hours, they had nothing less than 7 radio broadcasts, 7 briefing with all various news media, condemning it and immediately seeking compensation from the federal government and the Edo State government. The northern influences, whether religious influencer, whether social influencer, all of them took to the streets and said that they would not accept these gruesome killings of their sons. And then I asked, is it because this happened in the southern part of Nigeria? Have we not seen how so many people have been pied in the north? In fact, when we had the very famous Chibok girls, how many religious influencers, social influencers of the north took that issue as their personal problem? It was indeed Obiese Kwesele, the likes of Aisha Yusufu, that led the campaign BBOG, Bring Back Our Girls. The Northerners took the security of their own children, they took it for political gains. They said it was all a scheme by Jonathan to distract them, that indeed nothing like that happened. There were situations that so many international NGOs said that there is terrorism now going on and the government of the day must rise up. We saw how the likes of Shetima and Co, then all of them were just quiet about it. They never spoke out. Why? Because they knew if the insecurity festered, it will help to topple Jonathan. So for their own political gains, they allowed the insecurity to expand. They were saying there was no insecurity, that the girls were, it's all a lie, blah, blah, blah. But we know what happens when you bring in a log of wood that is infested with termites. We know what happens. We know that you will not have a good night rest. So you see that very thing that you demanded for, that very thing that you allowed way back as 2012, 2013 today, has grown to become a monster that the northern politicians allowed. Because some people who are now being affected are responding by hunting down on anything that seemingly looks like Fulani'S. We are suddenly hearing the voices of those northern governors who have always had their children raped. I mean, look, did you listen to that woman? It is a longer version which I will play at the end of this. Please, I would just admonish you, please, to listen carefully. Though some parts are in Hausa, and I'll please you seek for someone who understands Hausa. Everything she said is absolutely true. That she was raped, marked. She had to run for her life. Until this very day, she is living with that horror, that trauma. That indeed today, because of so many people that are currently going through that process, the country that she is are not even accepting anybody again. When you seek for asylum, when they listen to your story, that is because of the northern terrorism going on in Nigeria, that is why you are here. They reject you, they tell you go back. Your government should act on stopping this. We've had enough. That in the last 14 years to 15 years, they've admitted nothing less than 100,000 asylum seekers in their state. My question is, these northerners, these northern politicians, of what good are you silent? These northern politicians, why are you people intentionally wicked? These northern politicians, why are you guys not doing the right thing to combat this thing? The same thing that they are experiencing in the northern Nigeria is what they are experiencing in Niger, is what they are experiencing in Burkina Faso, it is what they are experiencing in Mali. But we can see how those Sahel states have been fighting. One step those guys have used to combat this is by creating economic opportunities. It is by financing and reforming the educational system, and also by incentivizing children to have the desire to go to school. But what do we see? We see that the northern governors will, in fact, empower the youth, okay, by giving them wheelbarrows, by giving them religious relics, by sending them to Arabic schools, where some of them most times get radicalized. They are not investing in infrastructure, good roads, hospitals. There's northern governors who are supposed to be building ranches and for this, the grass that the cows will eat. There is a popular social influencer, Dambelo, who exposes the corrupt practices of the governments of the day in cahoots with the religious leaders. It is in the intentionality of the northern leaders that will sort this problem. Because I do not think a federal government can solve this insecurity. The state governments of those northern states, within a period of 13 to 14 years, they've extorted, exploited those states, because for as long as those states exist, they receive federal allocation. But those states are now deserted because most of those people have migrated. The governors are now even governing bandits. You will see governors having feasts, having meetings, having negotiations with bandits. I've never heard such in my life. Now, for Nigeria, as state government, they negotiate with bandits. Not once, not twice. Like on a frequent occasions, they always negotiate with these guys. When the government are supposed to be opening economic opportunities, build access roads to farms, finance securities, let sure that their security personnel across farms, build security cameras within the forest and the farms so that they can have a what? A pre data that will engage the security personnel. But of course, they thrive in their corruption for as long as those marauders continue. Let us listen to what this lady has to say in full. Bye for now.
I saw horror. Wallahi tallahi idan abu yana kama da Yom al-Qiyamah. Allah ina gan shi when I was in captivity. I saw that. I saw horror. I still have nightmares, bad nightmares da sai an rike ni har yau har gobe. Akan horrors din da na gani. Akan horrors din da na gani. That's why I left Nigeria. That's why I'm here. But wallahi tallahi, if you have not been through what we've been through, a lot of us that have been in captivity and been raped multiple times by terrorists, you would not know. You would not know the pain. You would not know the agony. Nobody stood. Nobody believed me. Nobody said anything. Nobody helped me. No one. No one. And that's what's happening right now to our children. That's what's happening right now to our children. They're being killed. Nobody's believing them. Nobody's saying anything. I'm angry. Nobody's accepting any refugee from northern Nigeria. Nobody. I was raped. I was raped. I was raped by terrorists. I was raped. I was naked. I still have marks on my arm. I know what's going on. I know the pain. I know the pain.
La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah.